Today is Buddha Purnima or Vaishaka Shuddha Purnima, the full moon day in the lunar month of Vaishaka. This day is celebrated by more than 500 million people in honor of the Buddha throughout the world. It is a very strange occurrence that on this day, it was that Buddha was born. It was on this day, 35 years later, he became enlightened. And it was on this day, when he was around 80 years old, his consciousness left his physical body. Buddha was born like any other child from a mother's womb. He passed away like anyone else with diarrhea after eating some pork mushrooms. It was not his date of birth or the day of his death that made him the Buddha. What made him the Buddha was that in between full moon day, when he became enlightened. After his enlightenment, when Buddha entered civilization, people stopped him and asked, "Are you a god?" He said no. They asked, "Are you a wizard or a magician?" He said no. "Are you a man?" He said no. They asked him, "Who are you then?" And he said, "I am Buddha," which simply means I am one who is awake. Throughout his life, the Buddha maintained that this awakening was not exclusive to him, and that every one of us can be awakened, every one of us can be Buddha too. So what does it mean to be awake? What does it mean to be Buddha-like? To understand Buddhahood, you must understand the nature of suffering. All suffering states, be they of fear, anger, sadness, they are daymares. They are terrible dreams you have while you are still awake. Go back to one moment when you experienced some terrible fear in life. It was like a bad dream in which you felt you were stuck, one from which you felt there was no escape at all. In that moment of fear, you were convinced that everything that is dear to you would be lost. Everything beautiful about your life would end. Am I right? To be awake is to realize, in the middle of this fear, that your fear is nothing but a mental construct, a bad dream, and there is nothing real to your fear. Such a realization is like a powerful ray of sunlight entering into an underground cave, dispelling darkness. To be Buddha-like is to see the true nature of all suffering states and break out of their spell. To be Buddha-like is to realize the illusion of a permanent, isolated self. It is to realize that you are eternal. You are one. Our lives are not special because of the way we are born or because of how we die. Their beauty comes from the awakened state of consciousness with which we live every day of our lives. Our life's beauty arises because of the impact we leave behind with our consciousness and our actions for our future generations.